saying, "Where are you? You're needed," and I'm honored that you think that much of me to want me to do this again. You guys have been so complimentary and encouraging, saying that my voice needs to be heard and things like that. So this is a little thing so I can hear. Actually, I don't think we think I need it because I decided to do it another way. So I think I'm all right. So I'll just throw that back there. But I'm here. What's going on in Ferguson tonight? Tear gas has been fired. There have been some reports of rubber bullets, although I don't know if those have actually been put to use. But people are being, some people are being defiant and insisting on staying when the police are telling you to go home. And I don't think that, I mean, they would prefer you to go home, but if you're going to stand there and be peaceful about it, the only thing that's going to harm you is probably going to be the tear gas. But if you're down there raising hell, then that's going to be a problem. And I don't want to see that happen tonight. I don't think you do either. I know something happened at the Galleria, not really sure what it was. I know one of the reporters from Channel 5 says she was going there to shop and she was ushered into a back room for her safety. I don't know what's going on inside the Galleria. I don't even know if it's still locked down or still closed. I'm not sure. I do know some restaurants in Ferguson decided not to open or closed early today. It was heartbreaking to hear the guy from Zisser Tire speak today because he talked about he just didn't understand why people did that to him. 85% of his inventory is gone from the showroom floor. That's a lot of merchandise if you've ever been inside. I used to do endorsements for them and have met the man, and he's a very, very nice man. And here he gets victimized just for having a business on West Florissant and Chambers, which is disappointing because he didn't deserve that. This is a man probably when someone would come by and say, "Hey, we're having a community event, can you buy an ad for our program?" And he probably would as often as he could because he'd been there. Zisser's been there a long time. And you can say what you want about them, but they've been in there in that community for a long time. And that counts for something until last night. That's the sad thing. Watch the meeting at the church. Thanks to News Channel 5 for broadcasting the entire hour and a half. I was surprised they did that, but they did. And it was good to hear the messages. I don't see, and understand, I'm not hating it right now. I'm just saying I wonder if the people who needed to hear the message heard the message. I heard the message, and you probably did too. But the people it's directed to, although someone towards the end, and I think Tim from Sweetie Pies was there right at the end, and the pastors were, the clergy were challenged to get to the streets and get out of the pulpit, and it'll be interesting to see if they follow up with that, the pastors, and do exactly that, because they are needed in the streets, as a lot of people are. So the crisis that's going on in Ferguson, of course, is worldwide. It's surprising to me that people are surprised that it's gone worldwide, because we live in this world where, you know, everything has the possibility of going worldwide, or as they say, going viral. And this incident, for lack of a better phrase, has gone viral around the world. I mean, the BBC is doing stories about it. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, CBC, is doing things about it. I'm sure Al Jazeera America is doing something about it. And I'm wondering, because, you know, last night it seems to be, my cable was working fine where I live, but apparently in that area, the local channels went out. And today, around lunchtime, my local channels went out. So I don't know if that was done on purpose, or it's one of those sun flares. You know, at this time of year, these sun flares, because Charter, they're a cable company, but they get their signals via satellite. So I don't know if I don't know, the sun flare, I don't know if that's the right word or not, but there's something at certain times of the year where the sun wreaks havoc on satellites. I'm not sure if that was, I don't know what the reason was, to be honest. I really do not know. So we'll see. I'm going through the Twitter feed right now, and hopefully I can share some information. You know, the buses are not running. I'm reading right here, so kids can't get home. So some of the kids are in the street. Some of them are scared. It would be great if we could get people to pick these kids up, but it's not safe, and your safety has to come first. Otherwise, you won't be able to do anything. So I don't know. We'll have to see what happens with that. Um, Going out. And now, if you have a comment that you want to share with me, you can by using the hashtag TSLive, Tony Scott Live. Um, and there are protesters who are standing in the streets with their hands up peacefully. I don't know if the police are going to respect a peaceful protest tonight. You know, one of the things I dreaded tonight today was the sun going down, because I was scared. I was frightened for folks in the Ferguson, Florissant, Delwood, Jennings, you know, Wellston, Norman, in that area. You know, I was just concerned that for people's safety and stuff. I mean, some people are just trying to get home from work, and you know, it's kind of, that's all they want. They just want to. They went to work this morning and they just want to come home, and it's becoming a problem. Charlie Dooley is issuing a plea for calmness in Ferguson, and he'll do that tomorrow morning on Magic 100.3. So there you go. He'll be on with Tammy, and let's see. Police say it's a war zone, but the artillery, the guns, the tear gas, it said who had. Well, you know what? Here's the deal. You guys have to understand that when things like this are tense, it is common police protocol to show up in riot gear. It's protocol. It's what they do. If the Klan had a rally at a courthouse in Alton, police there are going to show up in riot gear. It's just when they have information that it could go left, or there's evidence pointing that it could go off the rails, they're going to put on their riot gear, because they're trying to keep themselves safe to the best of their ability. You know, it's disappointing that they showed video earlier of a policeman calling the crowd a bunch of animals. One of the policemen in Ferguson doing that, and I think if I'm the police chief of Ferguson, I got to pull him off the street. I got to pull him off. I got to send him home, because it's that mentality that's going to get somebody hurt. If not a police officer, then one of the protesters who are being peaceful. You know, I mean, peaceful protesters. It doesn't mean that they're not saying anything. It just means that they aren't starting anything. I mean, their words may start something, but you know, they're being for the most part peaceful. Some people are tired of being peaceful, tired of marching. Well, what do you want to do? What is it that you want? You want to fight? Well, we will lose that battle every time, and we'll have more casualties, more fatalities, and that's not what we want. This all in memory of Mike Brown. That makes no sense at all. You know, it just doesn't make any sense at all. But a lot of this is not making a lot of sense to me. So I don't know. Hopefully, cooler heads will prevail. I understand you wanting to protest, and even wanting to protest peacefully. But if the police are telling you to go home, go home. It's what's best tonight. It's what's best for right now for you to go home. I don't think anybody's trying to step on your rights. I just think that they're trying to keep the streets peaceful and safe as much as possible, because the people who were out looting last night are the same people who may in fact be out again tonight. And if that's the case, somebody's going to die tonight, and I don't want to see that happen. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I don't want that. You don't want that. So, you know, to me, we need to have a self-imposed curfew. And the kids need to be inside, can't sit on the porch, you know, can't hang under the street light, can't sit on the car that's parked in the driveway. They got to come in the house tonight at a certain time. It's 9:36 now. We should make that at about 10. So in about 24 minutes, the kids need to be in the house if they're not already. I mean, to me, it's like a no-brainer. But police are using tear gas on the crowd in Ferguson. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, that depends on how you view things. But to me, they're trying to get a situation under control. Is this the best course of action? I don't know. I mean, I really know nothing. I mean, my heart tells me no, it's not the best course of action. But you have to understand, based on what happened last night, they're trying to keep that from happening again. And they're doing their best to try and keep that from happening again. And I don't know if it's going to work or not. That's the part that concerns me. Is it how far are they going to go tonight? The police, because the police, for the most part, last night, I mean, yeah, they did arrest some people, but I think they're going to be more active tonight. I think they're going to be active tonight. Blue Bolden says, I hope nobody gets killed tonight. And I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I'm looking at some of the vines. Antonio French is, you know, if he ever wants to stop being a politician and be a news reporter, I think somebody can find a job for him, because he is very, very committed to what's going on and always has been. But on this level, he's putting vines up and he's posting pictures and things like that. He's a beast. And I mean that in a good way. That he's putting stuff up. So let's see what else. If you're out in the streets, please help get these kids home. They're scared, and many stay on the side that is being blocked. So we got some kids out there who don't have a ride home. If you feel it's safe enough for you to help out in that way, then you do what you got to do, but be extremely careful. And if the police tell you something, do what they tell you to do tonight. Tonight, really, because I mean, all this. I don't think I could exaggerate or I could stress more about how serious it possibly could get tonight. All right. Channel 4 says at 10 o'clock they're going to the story on what happened when police swarmed the Galleria. So maybe we'll find out there if the news hasn't gotten out already, because I don't know what happened at the Galleria. But I think if I were the police department, I think that I would probably be defending as many Walmarts and Sam's Clubs as possible, because don't they sell firearms, don't they? Do they sell ammunition? These gun shops and stuff like that. I mean, those are the ones I really keep an eye on. But maybe I'm speaking out of turn and don't know what I'm talking about. But it seems to me that that would be the thing to do, is to in fact have people there, and not even let people like on the parking lot of these stores, because that has a possibility of happening. I mean, there's so many different things that could possibly happen. Most of it probably won't happen, but you never know. You just never know. Let's see. St. Louis Public Radio retweeted Julie Bosman's tweet of at least 5 gunshots heard from a Ferguson neighborhood. People trapped there scattered and taking cover. One says, where are we supposed to hide? And that's kind of like being part of the theme of today's message from protesters. Is like, we're supposed to reach out to the police for help when we need help. Well, if you're a black male, if you're an African American, period, who are you supposed to call? Because it's pretty obvious to a lot of African Americans that the police are not their friend. And see, to me, I disagree, because yes, there are bad cops. It's going to be hard for you to believe what I'm saying, but I'm telling you what I know. Most cops are good cops. It's kind of like the situation where when ladies say all men are dogs. Well, no, all men are not dogs. It's just but we like to put everybody in a box, right? And we like to do that. All the men you've experienced are dogs. All the men in your circle are dogs, but not all men are dogs, you know? And it's kind of like that. If you can't put every police officer in a box. They're supposed to release the police officer's name tomorrow around lunchtime, and I wish they wouldn't, but I think legally they have to. But it just doesn't seem like that's going to help things at all to me. But you know, there's people who want justice and there's people who want blood, and there's a huge difference as to who wants what. And you know, I think we want justice. But I was talking to somebody earlier today, and I was telling them I think the part of the anger in a lot of people is in their mind, and I'm not arguing with what's in their mind, but in their mind they already know how this is going to turn out, and this is what angers them. for some people, and it's hard to argue that point because it's happened so many times. I mean, George Zimmerman, you know, those cops who beat Rodney King, you know, I mean, eventually they served jail time, but initially they were found not guilty. That's what sparked the LA riots, right? And having that kind of history in our country, you know, uh, I don't know if a white man has ever been put to death for killing a black man in this country. I don't know. I know someone told me one time it's never happened, but I'm not sure. Again, maybe I'm speaking out of turn. I don't know. I hope not, but I don't know. I don't know. It's just hopefully it won't be a long night like it was last night. Uh, let's see where we are here. A comment is welcome from you. Use the hashtag TS Live would be very helpful. TS Live, all one word. Hashtag TS Live. One TV reporter was choking from the tear gas. Anthony French is reporting hearing the sound of police cock their rifles right now at West Florissant and Chambers. Oh God, it's I don't know. I would love to talk to Antonio French. If people have a way of contacting him, that would be wonderful. I would love to be able to speak to him to get his perspective because he has been in this area for the last Saturday, Sunday, Monday, 3 days. He has. Let's see. What else is going on here? Riot police point a gun into a yard. There's a picture there of that. And a show of force. It's, what hurts is just how this country, for all that African Americans have done for this country, in this country, that still to be treated, to be looked at, to be profiled like that is so disappointing on so many levels that it breaks your heart. And I can only imagine for people who have been victims of police brutality how they feel because they can't trust the system. You can't. It's just one of those things. But at the end of the day, we have to go about this in a way that is not counterproductive to the African American community. And I don't know if I'm making sense to you, but to destroy your own community and destroy businesses who have been there for years investing in your community and to run them out of the community and they've done nothing but been supportive, to me is, man, I don't know, kind of frightening when you think about it. It's like, well, then who's safe? Who is safe? I mean, if a white person's driving down West Florissant right now, are they going to get attacked just for minding their own business? Maybe they even support what's going on, but they had to do something that required them to be in the area. Are they going to get pulled out of their car, yanked out of their car? Are they going to become a victim? I mean, that's frightening to think that way, but it's the mentality, you can't help but wonder that. I mean, and that's the thing, is that you have to realize where we are on this Monday night in St. Louis, in Ferguson. Where are we with that? That's the part that scares me. I was dreading Monday night in St. Louis because I was scared about what possibly could happen. And I'm sure you are too. Again, if you want to send me a message, a comment, your thoughts, you can do it on Twitter using the hashtag TSLive, and that will come to me. So let's see that in. Okay, cool. Put that right there. Let's see. Channel 2 starts their news at 9 o'clock, so they're doing this. I assume that the other local channels are probably running their network programming. And we can be mad at them if we want to, but I guess to some degree contractually they're obligated unless there are certain protocols that are followed. And I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Broadcasting, this I can tell you from my 30 plus years in broadcasting, that it doesn't work like you think it does. It never has. It never has worked the way you think it does. So, um, breaking news: police trying to control crowds. This is Channel 4, but I think they're just running a promo for it to tune in at 10 o'clock, which is in about 15 minutes. So, because this is footage they're showing as it was still daytime. So, but there it says breaking news. Maybe they're going in now. Let's see. No, they're not going in now. So, all right. Where else are we right now? Let's see. I appreciate the words, man. I am on YouTube. Tell people that I am if they want to watch something until the local news comes on. I don't know. I mean, I'm here for you. And if you are watching, I appreciate it. If you're not watching, then it doesn't matter what I'm saying, right? Traffic is being turned around in Ferguson. Let's see. It almost looks like a war zone in some of these photographs. And it's photographs are great, but sometimes they're unfair because they catch people in a split-second pose and it implies something that probably isn't necessarily true. Just saw two girls walking. Somebody puts up there. They are Mike Brown's cousins. They were trying to walk to Cabot and Union in the city. That's let's see. Aerial shots. Patricia Bonds is asking people to help get these babies home. There are children on the street right now who want to go home, but they can't. They can't. They don't have a ride, and they can't get home. And if you run across someone like that, if you feel safe, that's important to do it. Then help out if you can. Police in Ferguson are now threatening the media. If you don't pull back and go home, you will be arrested. That's not a good move. That's not a good move. That's not good. Because now that shows that you're panicked. Because it implies that you're getting ready to do something that you don't want people to see. What happened to the transparency thing earlier today? What happened to that? The transparency thing. What's going on with that? You know, you can't tell the media that they have to go. You can push them back to a certain, behind the rope kind of thing. You can do that, but if you tell them they're going to be arrested if you don't get out of here, you'll tell that to the media. You're implying that something's about to go down. That's not good. That's just not good. Maybe I'm off the mark here, but somebody says it looks like a scene from another world down there. On-ramp blocked at 170 westbound from Lucas and Hunt. I would imagine, yeah. I would imagine that they don't want anybody. I know that the FAA issued a no-fly zone for aircraft 3 miles around Ferguson and including Ferguson. I don't know if that's being reserved on. I don't know if that's only being reserved for the police helicopters to be able to fly in. I don't know what the reason is. Can you only comment on Twitter? No, you can comment on Facebook too if you want. I got Facebook up with no problem. Let me pull it up. I want to make it all as much available as I possibly can for you to communicate with me so that I can, because I want to hear what you have to say. I want to hear. The interesting thing is all this is going on tonight in Ferguson, North County, and downtown Earth, Wind, and Fire. Last night, Miley Cyrus. So go figure. whatever comments that you want to put up. Let's see. You can post a comment on. I'm having a hard time commenting on YouTube, and I don't have Twitter. I want to interact, and send me a Facebook message. You can do that. You can send me an email if you want to Tony at TonyScottMedia.com. That would be another avenue. So there's some avenues there for people to reach me if they have thoughts and comments, things like that. If we can create a dialogue like that. I know tomorrow during the day I'm going to work on a way, if in fact we have to do this again, and I hope not. I mean, I love communicating with you and I miss you so much, but I would rather, do a Google Hangout and joke and laugh and stuff like that than have to do something like this. But I think this is needed. Somebody who you can talk to. Somebody who you can reach out to. So this is why I'm giving you multiple avenues to communicate with me on Facebook, on Twitter, via email, Twitter #TSLive, Facebook, post a message. Again, email is email, Tony at TonyScottMedia.com. So let's see. It's disappointing how people think that their sense of humor, or maybe they're trying to bring levity to the situation. But when you have tear gas all up and down West Florissant in Ferguson, really isn't a time to try and lighten the mood. Lacy Clay has sent a letter to Attorney General Holder requesting that he expand the FBI investigation into the shooting of Mike Brown. By the way, my Facebook page is got the 5,000. I was gonna say the $5,000, the 5,000 friend limit, the one that I'm looking at right now, and I can't add you, but you don't need to be my Facebook friend to watch on YouTube. You can just search. You can just search Tony Scott Live in the YouTube search box when you go to YouTube.com, and you will get. You will get to see what I'm doing here, because I want to be able to embed this on multiple pages. That's something else I'm going to be working on tomorrow. For whatever reason it needs to be done, again, hopefully for nothing like this ever again. So, our focus has been this the last 3 days, but as many of you know, Robin Williams apparently committed suicide today, which breaks my heart. He had been struggling with mental health for many years, and I guess he decided he had had enough, and God rest his soul. I hope he's able to rest in peace. So, okay. All right then, and back over here. What else? We're about to find out a lot of information when the other two stations do the local news. This is why local is so important. Let's see. Man, some of these pictures though, that capture the moment. Andrew says, I'm so concerned as a mother. My 5-year-old is aware a Quick Trip burned down. He does not understand that there are more than one in the world. I don't know how to comfort him. He is scared of the mean people. He is scared of the police. I don't want to raise another young black male afraid or angry with the police. My guess would be that you would have to keep talking to him. And if the opportunity comes in the very near future, maybe have him meet a police officer. I know easier said than done, but not anytime soon. You hear that? Somebody got fired on. You hear that? This is from earlier. This is not from recently. This is earlier because it was still daytime, but I'm just playing it so that you can get an idea of the tag on it says video from Ferguson of a guy getting shot at, hit with a rubber bullet between the eyes. Let's see, hear that again. Put this closer. Man. That's what I was been saying all evening. That tonight's not going to be like last night. The police are not going to be as patient as they were last night by any stretch. And to think otherwise is a mistake. You know, this is another evening where you have to pull rank on the young people in your house, whether it's your children or you're keeping your nephew or grandbaby for the summer, and summer's almost over, but they can't go outside. They can't even go to the front door. Okay, I mean it's that kind of thing where we have to really be aggressive when it comes to guarding the safety of our youngins. You know, since we're talking about race and things like that, I see this headline that Barney's in New York has agreed to pay over $500,000 after a racial profiling inquiry. So something else going on there, but not nearly as important as what's going on in our city. Let's go back over here and see, where are we? Again, if to be able to search, if people are, I know you're watching obviously, so, but if other people are trying to search, you can tell them, you go to youtube.com, and on the YouTube page there's a search box. Just put in Tony Scott Live, and you'll see me. You'll see it and click it, and then I'll be up. Somebody says they brought it up on their phone. Just looking at some of the pictures, officers standing in the midst of tear gas protected by masks. Well, yeah, they're the ones who put it out there, so they're going to be the ones who, let's see, they're going to be protecting themselves. Live shot there. And again, I'm thankful to News Channel 5 KSDK TV, because the meeting that was held at the church earlier today, they broadcast the whole hour and a half with no commercials. I was pleasantly surprised by that. Let's see, all the local news is starting to kick in, and on all channels they're still running commercials on 4, but here they come now. So your comments again, you can reach me on Facebook. You can reach me, I got Tony Scott Media, I got Tony Scott Media 2, I got Talking 360. Those are the 3 websites that I'm looking at right now. So you can comment on any of those. Also Twitter using the hashtag TS Live is something that and I haven't posted on Talking360.com. I post a lot of pop culture stories and other things like that, sports stories. I haven't posted anything in 2 days because I just don't think that it would be respectful. That's just how I feel. You know, that's just one of those things. So the footage that they're showing from earlier today on Channel 4, it makes the situation look very chaotic, and I hate that. My daughter is 21, wants to be involved, and although she is not in the area, she is out. I am scared to death. I am praying for the city. Yeah, you know, you got an adult child who wants to do something, and right now, I don't know if I would want my children out of my sight right now. I don't care how old they are. You know, I mean, I got a 19-year-old here at the house, and, you know, I just no, it just I can't see, I just would not want her out of my sight. But that's just me. Call me overprotective, I guess. But the scene right now on West Florissant, with the exception of a concentrated area, the street seems to be clear. I wish they would quit re-showing the same footage over and over that cast people in a bad light. I don't know why that guy's dancing in the street, but that's, I don't know. I don't know. I would like to think that people are listening and going home because of what the potential is to happen. So, right, let's see. Appreciate that, man. People leaving comments on hashtag TS Live on Twitter. That's nice. I mentioned that already about what the police told a reporter to get out of there or he's going to be arrested. And look there. Okay, all right. See where we are. Yeah, there's a part of the street that there's like one or two cars going down West Florissant. Uh, I think near the AutoZone, and it's like that person's able to go down the street, and there's really nobody over there except for Julian Johnson from Channel 4. But further down, when you see the flashing lights, that's the part that I'm concerned with. So, again, I wasn't sure if I was going to go on tonight because I didn't know if it was actually going to be necessary. But it was pointed out to me there, a fight at the Galleria. I'm looking at some video on Channel 4. Lots of security. People pointing, people swinging. It's a bad situation right now. And unless people go home, it's only going to get worse. Um, see, moving across, trying to get you some information, some comments, something you want to add. I would love to be able to read what you're thinking. Because originally I had this idea earlier today, and I didn't have time to really set it up on the website because I want you to vent. I want you to vent to me. And if you want to hold up your phone and do a quick video venting, you can do that, and then you can just send it to Tony at TonyScottMedia.com, and I'll put it up. If that'll help you, if that will help you release, I'd be more than happy to do something like that. I just need to know if you want to or not. Apparently, supposedly the officer's name is starting to show up on Twitter. I don't think it's a good thing to release his name right now. I think tempers are boiling, and I don't think that'll be a good thing. But they did say that tomorrow it's going to happen, and it's for legal reasons that they have to do it. So I don't know. We'll see. Police are shooting tear gas directly at journalists now, flashing lights so cameras can't record. You see, that's not the way they want to handle that. It's like freedom of the press is a basic right in this country, and I know I'm talking about basic rights. How ironic, right? But we need freedom of the press. We need the press in instances like this to keep everybody, with the idea that your actions, like that police officer earlier today calling the crowd a bunch of animals, and to bring it, right? So that's on. So we got him. His ass is grass as far as I'm concerned. Because if I'm the chief of police of Ferguson, that dude right there, either he has desk duty or he got to go home, but he can't hit the streets anymore. Not anything with this is concerned. He just can't do it because he doesn't have the right mentality. If he's calling the protesters, even if they're in his face yelling at him, if he's calling them animals and telling them to bring it, he doesn't have the mental stability to be able to be in that situation. And I think that that needs to be pointed out, because to have him out there is just asking, is begging for trouble, and that's not what we want. Somebody's upset because they say that a lot of comments were about Robin Williams. Well, you know what? Uh, as as hard as it is to believe, there are some people that could give three damns about what happened to Mike Brown, and that's their right. Is it wrong? I think it's wrong, but they have the right to feel that way. And Robin Williams was an icon, and there was a lot of St. Louis-based Facebook posts and tweets that were shouting out Robin Williams. So Ferguson police protest tell protesters to go home. They say we live here, and then tear gas. Okay, well, I think tear gas wouldn't be an issue if everybody would just go home. And I think that's a simple statement, because you do have a right to protest. But you know, based on what happened last night, police are trying to keep that from happening again tonight. And it seems like they're being very aggressive tonight, more so, way more so than they were last night. So let's hope that people are heeding. I mean, to me, if tear gas being fired, okay, I guess I'm going home, because that's a message. The one that the police are not playing. And two is, it looks like it's about to get very, very, very complicated down there. Let's visit Facebook right here. If you have a comment about the situation, again, you can reach me on Facebook. You can also reach me on Twitter using the hashtag TSLive. And the email address is tony@tonyscottmedia.com if you want to do that. So let's see over here. See that, and right then, and it's interesting how people are not moved by this at all. I find that incredibly disturbing. I mean, I understand racists and bigots and all. I mean, I get why, because they could give a damn about people of color. I understand that, but just normal everyday people, even people of color who don't really care about what's going on in St. Louis, and I understand. If you live in Los Angeles, you live in Decatur or wherever, you're not caring about what's going on in St. Louis. But this is an exception to that rule. But there are people in St. Louis of color who could give three damns about what's going on right now in Ferguson. They don't care. They're like, why do they keep preempting my show? Why they keep doing? And that disturbs me to no end, because by the grace of God, your son could have been Mike Brown. And I mean that with total respect. They say the hardest thing to do is to bury your own child. But when you have to bury your own child under these circumstances, that is the thing. That is the thing that we have to be concerned with. So let's see, bring this back up over here. Let's see what kind of comments we have over here. And that's an interesting comment. Rochelle Carey, who used to work here on KMOV and then went to CNN, and now she's with Al Jazeera America, and she's saying that I'm not saying all police are bad, but until you're a black man interacting with them, you don't know that experience of a good police officer. And for a lot of African American men, that's their reality, is they've never had a positive experience. They've never had a pleasant exchange with a police officer. When a police officer gives you the side eye simply because of the color of your skin, a lot of us have never and will never experience anything like that. They're talking about the fight at the Galleria on Fox 2 right now, if you're interested, uh, about what went on. And understand that, Richmond Heights, what does that got to do with Ferguson, right? But the lines are blurred. The lines are blurred. Clearly, the lines are blurred right now, and that's just how it's going to be. Um, Arrests have been made in Ferguson tonight. This is what Lisa Zigman was told by a county police officer over there on Channel 5. The last time I checked, Chris writes, the First Amendment guarantees the freedom of the press. Why is the Ferguson police forcing the press to leave? That's what I'm saying. I'm saying the exact same thing. That it's a slippery slope. When you start pushing the press around, man, you never really want to do that. Like I said, you can put them. You got to get behind the barricade. I understand that, but to tell them that you will be arrested if you do not leave, to tell that to the press, it never turns out well. That just never turns out well. So now, for those who have phoned in or sent death threats to the mayor of Ferguson, what's wrong with you? The mayor of Ferguson? The mayor, you threaten the life of the mayor of Ferguson. Come on. I understand anger, but that's misguided, misdirected anger. You know. Let's see where we are right here. Someone posted, race is a factor in nearly everything. It doesn't mean everyone is racist, but race is a factor. Do not make that mistake thinking that it's not. But see, and I think only people of color would understand that. People of color would only understand that. And I'm not just talking about African Americans. In cities around the country where there's a heavy Latino population, you've got, like Los Angeles, San Antonio, El Paso, Houston, Miami. There are a lot of Latinos that get the same business that African Americans get when it comes to the police, the males. And then in this country, since 9/11, Muslims have been catching it for no other reason than their religion. And that's unfortunate. I don't understand that I've never understood hatred for someone based on the color of their skin. That's never really made a lot of sense to me, but look at the comments here. I'm not going to be on much longer because I think that the gist of the message is getting out that people need to go home. And those who do not go home are going to suffer the consequences. Now, read into that what you might, but I don't think that that's going to being out tonight is not going to be the move. So I think that we need to understand that the police are being really aggressive tonight, more aggressive than they were last night, and I think they have pretty legitimate reason for wanting to be more aggressive tonight because they're just trying to stop everything before it starts. I'd be interested to know if the police were caught off guard by the looting that went on last night. I think had it just been a protest, peaceful protest, even with some pockets where people were angry, but not going out looting, I think that would not have been surprising, right? But to go out and loot, I wonder if it caught the police off guard. I don't know. I don't know. But I'm convinced that the people who did the looting and all that and set fire to Quick Trip and took the ATM machine and all that stuff like that, I'm convinced that those people were not the peaceful protesters. I'm in my heart, I believe that those are people who were just taking advantage of Mike Brown's death for a come up, which in my eyes makes you no better than the cop who shot and killed Mike Brown. I mean, that's just my opinion. I mean, I could be way off the mark. I don't know, but it is how I feel. You know, I think that most people would probably somewhat agree with what I'm saying. What's wrong with the people with threats against the mayor? They're ignorant. Those people are not working for the good of the Brown family. Not at all. That is true. The Brown family has asked, Mike Brown's mother has asked for peace, be peaceful. She even said that today, talking to the media today. She's asking for peace, and she's not getting it. So we're not respecting her or Mike Brown at all on any stretch, you know. It's not about, it's about Mike Brown right now, right? It's about him and finding out what the hell happened. You know, I don't believe the story that the police are putting out there that there was a struggle, and I'm not buying that for 1 minute. They could be totally right, but you're gonna have to do more than just tell me what you said happened. That's not gonna work. That doesn't work for me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. It just does not work for me. And who shoots somebody that many times? I mean, who does that? I don't see where that even makes sense. You know? Christina says, I'm concerned that this conversation is going to die when the spotlight is off the situation. Like the situation with Bring Our Girls Home, in the situation with that plane that they've never found, that kind of thing. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. I am happy to be here for you, and because you need me and you want me doing this. I'm honored that you think that highly of me. Um, and it means a lot, and I'm hopeful that I can share your comments and how you feel and what you think with other people. And if you are watching, you can send me your comments. The email address is tony@tonyscottmedia.com. Facebook, it's just Tony Scott Media or Tony Scott Media 2, the number 2. Or on Twitter, you can use the hashtag TSLive, Tony Scott Live. And I will read the comments. It's interesting, like, what are your children saying about this? Your kids who are starting school, or maybe started school already this week, or what are they saying? I'm always interested in their perspective. Are they scared? Are they afraid of the police? Like Andrea said earlier today about her 5-year-old. How does your child feel about this? And what about your high school children? What are they? Are you talking to them about this? I mean, are you, as you watch it on TV, are you and talking to them about this? I mean, because this is a golden moment for you to have a serious conversation about the fragility of life, how fragile life is. You know what I'm saying? It's very, life is so fragile. I mean, in the blink of an eye, Mike Brown was gone. You know, he's gone. And today was supposed to be his first day of college. Today. He just graduated. And today. So he doesn't get to go to college, and he doesn't get to have a college degree. He doesn't get to have a family. He doesn't get to walk his child to class for the first time down the road in life, and he doesn't get to celebrate an anniversary with a wife, and he doesn't get to, you know, go to Six Flags or go to a concert or a movie that everybody's talking about. He doesn't get to do that anymore. We're talking about permanent here. This is it. This is it. This is where we are right now. with that. And I'm happy that the FBI, the federal government, is going to get involved in the situation, because I just think that the people of this area do not trust, first of all, the Ferguson police, and second of all, I don't think they really trust St. Louis County police. I'm just telling you how I feel about that in this situation. I don't know if they trust the FBI. But then after that, who are you going to get to do it? Were you going to bring in the Canadian Mounties to do this? I mean, it's going to have to. The feds are coming in, and their decisions and their investigations will trump everybody else. Federal trumps state and local each and every time. So, but I'm happy to see that they are getting involved, because I think it's important. This is interesting. Somebody writes, Chris writes, when it comes to the getting justice for blacks in the U.S., it's like a rug being pulled from underneath of you repeatedly. Think about that for a second. Wow. The only way to social justice is economic parity, says Tashara Jones. Let's see. I appreciate your kind words. Those who say they miss me from the radio, I appreciate that. But it is what it is. So, again, I'm welcoming if you feel like you need to say something. Patricia Bynes says that apparently she took it upon herself to pick these girls up who didn't have a ride. They were basically stranded in the area, and she got them home. So it's done. So thank you, Patricia. If you don't know Patricia Bynes, Patricia's one of these gems of our community who stays involved in lots of different issues locally. I mean, she's always commenting and doing stuff in the community that makes a difference. I asked my son, if you were mad at the police, would you steal a bag of Doritos to teach them a lesson? And he said, no, that's silly. She says, it's a damn shame a 5-year-old knows and understands this. Yeah, that's true. That's true. We'd be surprised what 5-year-olds know these days, though. When I was 5 years old, I don't even know if I knew what day it was. But, the world's a different world now. It moves much faster. And some say that's a good thing. Some say it's a bad thing. I don't know. I guess it depends on your mentality. And that's not a criticism to anybody. Deanna, thank you so much for the compliment. I appreciate that. Thank you for the shares, Jonathan, Angela, and Terry, who are watching. If you're watching right now, send me a message and let me know that you're watching, so I don't feel like I'm just talking to myself. That would be nice if I could hear you, that you're out there for me, and I'm here for you. But I'm anxious to read some of your comments if you're willing to share them. Again, you can use on Twitter hashtag TSLive. Then you can reach me on my Facebook pages, and you can send me an email to tony@tonyscottmedia.com. Let's see. I'm just bouncing around between social media and reading comments and such to you. Channel 4 just went to sports. Channel 5's in commercial, as is Channel 2. So there's a peaceful demonstration at the Ferguson Police Headquarters. That's going on right now. So yeah. Journalists report in the hottest war zones in the world that the world has to offer, but St. Louis is threatening to arrest media covering their abuses. Gotcha. Your perspective is always, everybody's perspective for the most part is always very interesting. I don't understand why these police departments around the country are equipped to go to war like they're in the army. Tanks on the street. Well, you have to understand that, we don't know every situation. Suppose we didn't think 9/11 would ever happen in our country, but it did, and it changed the world forever. And suppose that happened based on one community, which is not out of the question, that one city, one metropolitan area were to be attacked. You got to have the tanks. Why bring them out today? I don't know. I wasn't in that meeting. That is a great question. But I don't have an answer for that. I wish I did. Teenagers are walking back and forth on my street because they don't have ID to prove they live in the apartments. Police won't let them out. Yeah. School IDs won't work. I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking. School IDs. When I was a kid, I was in school. I carried my school ID even in the summertime because that was the only ID I had. I didn't have a driver's license when I was 16 years old. I didn't get it till I was 18 years old. But that's a whole nother story. But I always carried my school ID. Even when school was out, my school ID was in my wallet. Do kids not do that anymore? Olivia did. Olivia, my 19-year-old, when she was in high school, she carried her ID with her. And Maria just started high school, and she'll be carrying her ID with her. And I don't know. I think it's interesting because to some degree, we as parents just assume our kids know certain things, and that's not necessarily true. So, Mike Brown's parents are on with Don Lemon on CNN, and they say that he was their best friend. Yeah, yeah, that's it's an interesting thing how people's our love for our children never wavers. Our love for our children is unconditional for the most part. It really is. If our children get in serious trouble with the law, we stand by them. We will, even when we know they're wrong. But we will stand by them, and that's the love we have for our children. And I cannot imagine. What Mike Brown's parents are going through. I just can't. I can't begin to imagine what they're going through because it's just unfathomable that if I were to say I understand how you feel, I would be disrespecting them on levels that I could never explain because I have no idea what that would be like. President Obama issues a statement on Robin Williams, but nothing on Mike Brown or John Crawford. Well, I'm not defending the president, but I will say this. It's a little easier to release a statement on a celebrity who dies as opposed to the circumstances by which these two young men died. And I'm not making excuses for them. There'll be a statement. It just you have to craft it in the right way, and it has to be able to convey the message that the president wants to relay to the public and to Mike Brown's family. So I get that, how he's not said anything about that yet. That's cool. That's cool. There are bigger things going on than worried about what our president is saying about what he is or is not saying about Mike Brown or John Crawford. So. All the equipment that Ferguson has, John Legend tweeted, the fact that the small town Ferguson Police Department has all this equipment should disturb us all. Priorities, but I understand that I don't know that it's all Ferguson's equipment. Maybe some of it's being loaned to them from the St. Louis County Police Department or other municipalities. I don't know. It's an assumption that I'm not ready to make, because I mean we're already we're all ready to jump at our first notion and our first thoughts about a situation without thinking it through. And sometimes that can be reckless. You know, I'm guilty of it lots of times, where you have to look at the big picture and see it for what it is. I'm looking here. This is really nothing to do with the situation we've been talking about this late evening, but two window washers are dangling on scaffolding on the 21st floor in Manhattan. Can you imagine hanging from the 21st floor for your life? Wow, that's frightening too. But let's concentrate on what's going on here. The SWAT team is saying, please clear the streets or we will deploy gas. My father says, I love how they use the word please with a gun pointed at you. Chris says, I'm so angry right now. What is happening to us needs to stop once and for all. You know, from your lips, man. You know, that's I think everybody's sentiment that the madness has to stop. Channel 2 already has an intro for the Crisis in Ferguson that they're using to intro the segments and stuff like that. I'm looking on Fox 2, the live shot of a young African American he's on a stretcher and being put into an ambulance. I don't know what happened.
Not far from where the Quick Trip on West Florissant, where Ludi.
I don't know. I have to be very careful about like playing the audio and stuff over this live broadcast because you have to have permission, and I don't have permission, so I'm being very careful with that. But a young man was loaded into an ambulance and being taken to a hospital. I don't know what happened to him though. So you cannot react to violence, Olivia Jenkins says. You cannot react to violence with violence. You must kill them with kindness. Hashtag Ferguson, hashtag riot, hashtag STL. Andy Banker from Fox 2 says he caught a whiff of tear gas. Not to be messed with, he says. Ferguson needs a quiet night. Honor Mike Brown with peace is what he's saying. And I couldn't agree more. I could not agree more. You know, I dreaded, I said this earlier, I dreaded nightfall in the St. Louis area for fear that we were going to have a repeat of what happened last night. Only I knew that tonight the police were not going to be as laid back as they were last night. Laid back's not the right word, but you see what I'm saying. I just don't think. Wesley Lowry puts a picture up and says, police in riot gear shooting tear gas at residents saying return to your homes, and the residents are saying this is our home. Maybe the young man I spoke about who was loaded into an ambulance, maybe the tear gas got to him. I don't know. That tear gas, that stuff's not to be played with, man. Talk about eyes burning. Whew. Man, that's some rough stuff. Again, if you've got comments, I'd love to hear from you on Twitter, hashtag TSLive. And on Facebook, you reach me at Tony Scott Media or Tony Scott Media and the number 2, or you can use my email address, tony@tonyscottmedia.com. All right. You guys have been so complimentary, saying thank you for doing this, and it's there's no thanks that's needed. It's an honor for you to trust me with being able to have a voice and being able to be able to reach you in this manner, since I can't do it in the normal manner that I did for so many years. So see what we have here. Going back and forth. Our channel 2 has gone to TMZ, so there's no point in that. Channel 4 is on to Letterman, and Channel 5 is still local, but I don't know what they're talking. Tear gas fired on crowds in Ferguson. Okay, so they're still reporting that. But they may be going to Jimmy Fallon at any minute now, which I wish they'd stay with the live coverage, but I don't know. what the deal is on that. So let's see what's going on around here. I'm trying to get to as many of your comments as possible as I go in. Please keep recording what you see. You have a right to document exchanges with the police. So if the police tells you to turn that camera off, what are you going to do? Are you going to be defiant and suffer the consequences? Or are you going to turn it off? That's the thing. The fire department, shout out to the STL Fire Department for being present in STL County to help if needed, and thanks for advising that milk helps with tear gas. I'm assuming you should rub that on your eyes or something. I don't know. I don't think drinking it would do any good, but they want to control the crowds in Florissant, on West Florissant. Brittany Noble from KMOV says, and that's why they're asking the media to leave. I guess they're implying that if the media keeps reporting from Ferguson, that it's going to cause more people to come down to Ferguson. I guess is what the police are trying to say. I don't know. I think that you can't keep the media out. You can't. That's a bad move because it implies so much. You know, it implies that, you know, something's getting ready to go down, that they don't want the media to see. They don't want the media to report. It implies that, you know, they just don't want to be covered. And there has to be accountability on some level. So, of all the legal analysts to discuss Mike Brown, Mark O'Mara is on CNN. That's the guy who got Trayvon Martin's killer off. You know, understand, and I tried to explain this. Mark O'Mara did a job. He did a job, and he presented a case. He didn't get George Zimmerman off. The jurors are the ones who let George Zimmerman go, because the jurors could have locked George Zimmerman up, but they didn't. And some of them came back later and says that they wish they did later after the fact, which to me is a slap in the face, because you're saying that now it doesn't do anybody any good. To clear your conscience now is to piss me off, because, you know, you had the opportunity. You had it in your hands to do the right thing, and you chose not to. And you say based on the evidence presented. Come on, man. So I don't really fault Mark O'Mara for what he did. He's doing a job. It's the jury. It's like back when Leonard Little, who played for the Rams, when he was involved in a drunk driving accident where a woman died, and people were mad at him because he got such a light sentence. You should be mad at the judge. You know, Leonard Little went to court saying, I'll accept the punishment you give me, and the judge is the one who let him off the hook. Be mad at the judge. There's a lot of misdirected anger sometimes. Protesters, or the peaceful ones, are chanting, hands up, don't shoot, we are Michael Brown, we are Michael Brown, but they're being, you know, relatively peaceful, and that's a good thing. Peaceful almost implies like you're being quiet, and you're not being quiet, you're just doing it in a civilized way, I guess, is one way to look at it. Mike Brown, his mother says, that's my firstborn son. I just wish I could have been there to help him, is what Mike Brown's mom is saying on television. So, you know, I think people are jumping. The president hasn't commented on Mike Brown yet, and I think people are reading too much into that. I really do. I mean, I'm the first person who always says that we should criticize our president when he does something we don't agree with. We should do that. That makes him better. Do you see where I'm coming from? You know, when you criticize the president, when he's not supposed to be criticized. We're supposed to handle him with kid gloves. You know, it goes back to the argument of when he was first elected, and people will refer to him as Obama, and people will get mad, say, no, he's President Obama. But we always call presidents by their last names. So it's always been disrespectful. Did you feel the same way when we call Clinton, Clinton, and President Bush, Bush, and Reagan, Reagan, and President Carter, Carter, and, you know, we've always done that. So you can't get sensitive about that now. That just doesn't make a lot of sense. I will say this though, some of the pictures that are showing up on Twitter, it does look like a movie. You know, it does look like a movie, and because we don't think something like that's going to happen in our community. We don't, in our mind, do we think something like that's going to happen? No, we don't. We don't. Local TV has pretty much given up on covering it for tonight. They're all back to their programming. So I guess all that's left is CNN is not talking about it right now, but they're covering other news stories. Of course, they're worldwide, so they're not going to spend big chunks of time at this point on the situation here in Ferguson involving the murder of Mike Brown. And let's call it what it is: murder, homicide. He was killed. He was, you know. Let's not split hairs. The man was murdered, and it's something that this community is not going to forget this for a very long time, if ever. They're just not. It's one of those things where this will be, you know, where were you when you heard about Mike Brown when he was shot and killed? Where were you when the riots happened on that Sunday night in Ferguson, Missouri? That's going to be what a lot of people are going to be remembering for a long time. I mean, they are. I'm looking at some of your messages here. Let me bounce over here to Facebook and see where we are with your messages, because I want to be able to express yourself in this manner. Let's see over here, and right there. So people are concerned that, you know, how much life is this story going to have before it starts to fade. That's a great point, because, you know, we tend to, you know, something happens, we learn about it, we digest it, and we move on. I hope that's not the case in this situation. I hope that this stays where it needs to be, at least in our local community, for a while, because we need to get to the bottom of what happened. You know, and I do not believe what the police are saying happened. It just doesn't make any sense to me. You know, first of all, I don't understand why one police officer would try and handle two people and not call for backup before. I don't understand how something like that happens. That doesn't make any sense to me. Because it seems like that would be protocol. So the St. Louis American is posting that the Mound City Bar Association is inviting witnesses who desire a personal attorney to assist them in connection with the Michael Brown shooting to contact Shalana Oliver. I knew Shalana Oliver when she was a baby. Now she's a lawyer. 314-283-3867. It's posted on Facebook if you want to go and check that out. So. Why are they getting Trayvon Martin's attorneys? They did a horrible job. Can some other prosecuting attorney please step up and take over this case? Well, if you're talking about Benjamin Crump, he's not a prosecuting attorney. He's a defense attorney. And even though I don't believe that Trayvon Martin, that Benjamin Crump lost that case. I think it went to the jury, and the jury decided. The jury decided what George Zimmerman's fate was going to be. I don't think you can put that on the lawyers. He did the best job he could with what that really came down to was George Zimmerman's word versus Trayvon Martin's word, but we weren't able to hear Trayvon Martin's word. So it was whether or not you believe George Zimmerman or not. And I guess the jury decided that they did, and that's what they rendered their verdict that way. That's really what it was. Ambulances on standby. I'm looking at 1, 2, 3 ambulances at Chambers and West Florissant. But the workers say so far they've not been needed. Although they did load one young man onto an ambulance, and I don't know for what reason. It could have been the tear gas, because tear gas is brutal. Keke Palmer's being called on the carpet for her comments about Mike Brown on social media. I'm not sure exactly what she said, but she's catching it right now. So, oh, okay, the guy they loaded into the ambulance, according to Andy Banker from Fox 2, is that he was hit with a rubber bullet. And I think that I've always heard that rubber bullets, man, ain't no joke. So, so that's the young man that was loaded into the ambulance. They actually showed it on television, hit with a rubber bullet. So, Fox News tweet: Police used tear gas on demonstrators in Missouri town rocked by unarmed teen shooting death. Whereas one organization that was at yesterday, they called it a mob. They called the demonstrators a mob, which, the word mob is a negative connotation, but that's what they that's what they did. That's what they call it. It's perception. The media is so powerful and can be used for so many good things, but it can be used for even more evil things, about how they shape a story and how they spin a story. And you got people like Bill O'Reilly, who will say that that's the no spin zone. Well, that's not true, because the spin is that he calls it a no spin zone. But everything is spun to lean one way or the other. I mean, that's just life. And to believe when Bill O'Reilly says it's a no spin zone is you not paying attention. A line of police cars with high beams is saying hello to anybody trying to enter Ferguson. Ferguson is shut down. No media allowed. The police decided today that I think their strategy is that we're going to clear the streets, and we're going to be a little bit more aggressive about it tonight in Ferguson. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing is open for interpretation. Parts of it are good, because I really wanted peace in the streets tonight, but aggressive to the point where they're breaking out the rubber bullets, tear gas, a little bit much, but I guess that's how they only felt the only way they were going to get the streets cleared was to do that, I guess. And but telling the press they had to go or be arrested, I think, was over the line, in my opinion. I don't think you can tell the press that, because the press just has to tell us what it is. They have to be with us to inform us of what's going on. I mean, and that's why I said earlier, like Antonio French, the alderman from the city of St. Louis, who the last 3 nights, Saturday night, Sunday, last night, and then tonight, has been doing journalist work. If he wants a career as a journalist and wants to leave politics, I think he has a second career, because he's been posting some incredible things and taking some incredible snapshots. And his perspective is something, if you don't follow Antonio French on Twitter, you should, because his take on things the last few days in Ferguson has been first class, has been top notch, top shelf. So props to him. So let's see. I'm going to make one more round on social media, and then we're going to go from there. All right. See nothing that I haven't said already on there. And all right. And let's go here. And If Martin and Malcolm did nothing but told people to stay indoors, where would we be today? That's an interesting point. That's interesting, but it's hard to apply. In my view, it's hard to apply uh, the world as it was in the '60s to what it is now in the 21st century. It's almost impossible to do because circumstances, to a large degree, are different now. Uh, do African Americans have more rights now than they did in the '60s? Oh, there's a debate for you, huh? There's a debate for you. But you know, I would be interested to know, and at this point we can only speculate because we would never know how Dr. King and Malcolm X would have handled a situation like this in 2014. It would be very interesting to know that. We will never know that, but it would be very interesting to know how they would have handled it, a situation like this. That's I think about that a lot when different situations happen. This one being the latest, but I often wonder about that. So let's see. One more time do we hear? And all right, let's see. Some protesters are sitting in the street watching the police. And I want to play this because this should be. They're saying a pregnant woman was slammed to the ground by police, and she was telling them, "I'm pregnant." I don't know.
They're ready to shoot.
It makes you wonder how the police would be reacting if we didn't have smartphones and the media was truly not allowed down there. How they would be reacting. And maybe it's just me being too sensitive right now, given that this is only 3 days old.
Why are we going to put me as the last one out, dude?
Just watching the video somebody sent me.
Sure.
Yeah, they just went in on somebody's car. And they threw a woman to the ground who apparently is pregnant.
Back up a little bit then, bro.
I apologize for the language, but this is real. Interesting. All right, well, I wonder how are the police trained to handle a pregnant person who the how are they trained? Are they taught to use common sense, or is there a certain procedure? I'd be interested to know that, but that's really what the deal is on that. So, um, all right, my friends. Well, I am going to sign off. I think I've done all I need to do here tonight in trying to relay information to you. I was not planning on doing this tonight, but I was asked to do it from some people, and it's the least that I can do. No matter how many armored vehicles and tear gas shot at protesters, Mike Brown was killed by the Ferguson police, and we have no answers. I feel sorry for the folks who fell for the post-racial nonsense after Obama's first election. Things have gotten worse since then. Guns pointed at civilians with no weapons. That's what it is. So hopefully people will go home. People will at least tonight respect. I guess we got to go one night at a time, but they will respect the wishes of Mike Brown's parents who asked for peace. Hopefully that'll be respected. But I'm going to sign off. I appreciate you spending part of the evening with me here. I thank you for that. And I'll talk to you soon. All right. Good night.